Hi there, Cameron Coral here, and I wanted to send you a quick video today. And I was thinking about some of my favorite lines and quotes from my book Steel Guardian, especially those lines that the main character, the robot character, Block, says. Stuff that's funny or just unusual and unique. And I thought it would be fun to host a poll and ask you what you think your favorite lines are. So, real quick, I just made some notes about what I thought were memorable scenes or memorable lines from Block. So, the first one is on page 44, and this is when Block is in the old school, and he's in the middle of Iowa, and there's like an actual battle happening outside, and he that's when he discovers Wally. And so he's confronted as he's trying to leave with her. He's kind of hiding her next to him, and there's a trash bag that he had found as he was kind of picking up trash. Plus, it's raining outside, so he knew it was going to be wet. So he gets confronted by a soldier bot, and the soldier bot says, "What do you have in that bag?" And Block says, "Under this trash bag?" Block asked, adopting his favorite cheerful voice designed for hotel guests. "Just some rubbish I cleared out of the classrooms that had been on fire. Must still be hot. I'm not designed for fighting, so I'm leaving now. Just taking out the trash. It's what I do." So that is just an example of how Block, his model being a cleaner bot, how he has to try to adjust, get through life and get through a really crazy, messy, post-apocalyptic world where there are just a ton of bigger, stronger robots out there. So another one I thought was cool, when Block first takes Wally, he finds a house, an abandoned house, and he hides out with her the first night. And he says, it says, "The baby squirmed and fussed from the couch, kicking its feet before managing to sit up. 'I'm here, human child,' Block said. 'Haven't gone anywhere.' The infant stopped fussing. 'You like that? You like it when I talk?' The baby made a strange sound unlike any word he knew. It sounded like Hagak. 'Okay, I can talk to you more. We'll make a deal. I'll talk and you keep quiet.'" So I love how he just tries to bargain and negotiate with this child as if it's, as if she has the comprehension to make these, converse with him or make these decisions. He kind of, treats her like she is her own little independent human being. She's not quite at that age yet, at 7 months. So then another one, I love this part on page 51. Block was recharging, but the baby hadn't. It was hungry. How often did babies need to eat? He had no idea, so he searched his memory stores for information. Every 3 to 4 hours? How did parents keep up? It sounded as if babies spent most of their day eating. What an inefficient use of resources. If his microbial fuel cell needed that much charging, he'd never get any cleaning done. Next up is I love to weave in some pop culture references, particularly movies I like, and a lot of these movie references come from the 80s or 90s. On page 55, Mr. Wallace had loved movies, especially those from the 1980s. Block had watched them with him in his office when times had been slow. Since Block was so efficient at cleaning, the robot had often had free time. Mr. Wallace's favorite movie had been Dead Poets Society. He'd especially loved the actor Robin Williams. Block would have to find a human who had a favorite movie on the level of Mr. Wallace's top pick. Because he's in the book, in Steel Guardian, Block is searching for a human worthy of caring for the baby. Another part I like is on page 67, where he is going to the Iowa City Market, which is a market that is only robots, AI, no humans allowed. Because they're traveling, this is a kind of a war zone, a war-torn, post-AI uprising America. Okay, glancing down, and Block wears the baby in a sling that he he kind of doctored together. Glancing down, he saw the infant had fallen asleep. As long as it kept quiet, he might have a chance. He buttoned the trench coat, obscuring the view of the sling. Would he fool the others? A cleaner bot wearing a trench coat with a fat chest. There could be worse things. So I love that line. And page 102. Oh, I love it when Block is, after leaving that Iowa City market, after escaping, and I won't give too many details away, but he's inside a van, a self-driving sentient van, and Nova, who he meets and ends up accidentally buying her kind of like property. She was in a marketplace being auctioned off by her robot captors. So he's inside and they're escaping, cruising down the highway, escaping from this bad robot villain. And Nova is in there and he's just met her. And this says, she sat back on her heels. Well, tell your friend he better not mess with me. Would you please inspect the baby? She scoffed. Idiot robot, you can't just fix a baby. This isn't some program you run to defrag your hard drive. But you're human and a woman. She rubbed her wrists. Just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I know a thing about babies. So one of the things, Black being naive and not used to life outside of a hotel, he, in searching for someone who would take care of this baby that he found, he automatically thinks that he needs to find a woman, and so this is the first human woman he comes across. And so that is part of the tension in the conflict, in that she is surly and rebellious and does not want anything to do with him and that baby. And he starts to analyze her as they start traveling together. And he is this whole time trying to gauge worthiness, and he's come up with these questions, and one of them is, what is your favorite movie? So this one on beginning of chapter 27, as night fell and stars stretched across the charcoal sky, Block wondered where he'd gone wrong. Nova's responses to his test of worthiness had not triggered any red flags, but her behavior with the humans had demonstrated she was not only unworthy, she was dangerous. Perhaps the questions themselves were flawed. First, her favorite movie was The Goonies. It was about a search for pirate treasure, and pirates were infamous for double-crossing each other. That should have been his first clue. Her second answer had been soccer, which seemed harmless, but then she had mentioned a game he'd never heard of called Jenga. Stacking wooden blocks on top of each other until they reached a precarious height and toppled? Chess, on the other hand, was sophisticated, strategic, whereas the Jenga game sounded ludicrously unbalanced and verged on chaos. That should have been clue number 2. So a lot of what happens in the book on this road trip that he's on with Nova is Block trying to understand, what does it mean to be worthy? How do you judge a human's worthiness? And who could possibly, as he's trying to figure out how to get Wally to safety and who should care for her. And another scene that has some really great lines is when, on page 246, when Nova asks Block about what his first happy memory is. And she keeps questioning him about it. I suppose my first day at the Drake. It was a sunny day in Chicago, and I arrived on a truck with other machines, just one out of dozens waiting to be delivered to their destination. The delivery agent led me into the grand lobby of the hotel, where Mr. Wallace waited. He shook my hand and offered a smile when he met me. That's when I knew I was home. There you go, Nova said. There I go what? That's your earliest memory. So just another really fun scene that I love. And then there's a scene towards the end of the book where Block needs to escape from a car, an intelligent self-driving car that basically traps him and Nova and the baby. So he gets out in a really clever way, and don't want to give too much away, but okay, let's just go for it. So he kind of comes up with this plan. He knows it's risky. He had plugged in to get power to recharge himself from the car. And Block fumbled as the car grew suspicious. I'm just thinking of more ways to clean you, because the car had asked, why are you still attached? Your kind is pathetic, said the car. It's no wonder you won't survive. That stronger machines have destroyed your model. Tell me, how are you going to clean me? From the inside out, Block said. He injected the spray cleaner into XD-22's power port at full blast. Since he worked in an urban landscape, servicing large hotels with enormous glass-paned windows, full strength was very powerful indeed. So, a little trick up his sleeve, Mr. Block. And I love, also towards the end, before bad things happen, Block is so excited and optimistic about the safe haven he's going to with Nova. It's called New Denver. Whatever happened in New Denver, he would find someone worthy to take the girl. He hoped he would find her real parents, and that if not, nice people would adopt her. He hoped they would let him visit Wally. That would be nice. So I just love Block is such a fun character to write. And towards the end, too, on page 294, Block remembers a really bad experience, something life-changing and traumatic that happened to him. And they're right at the climax, and Nova is saying they're about to be killed and shot and blown up by enemies. She says, Nova gripped his shoulder, shaking him. We run. No, Block says, I have to make this right. I did a bad thing once. Her eyes searched him. What the? Now is not the time. I was unworthy, but I will make up for it now. So, yeah, this book, Steel Guardian, the theme of it is really what does it mean to be worthy, and how would you prove yourself? How do you, there's so many things tied up in that. Anyways, these were some of the fun little quotes that I thought would be really fun to just recollect, and hopefully you will cast your vote and let me know what your favorite was, or if there's another line that you love or a scene that you think really stood out. I would love to hear it. Thanks.